To the untrained eye, this looks like peaceful European farmland. Quiet, serene, completely unremarkable. But military strategists call this the most dangerous piece of land on Earth. A geographical choke point so fragile, it keeps the world's most powerful generals awake at night. Welcome to the SUWALKI Gap, a narrow corridor just 62 miles wide. It is the only physical link connecting the Baltic states to the rest of their NATO allies, and it is completely surrounded. On its western flank lies Kaliningrad, a heavily armed Russian island detached from the mainland, bristling with nuclear-capable missiles. On its eastern flank sits Belarus, a nation acting as a literal staging ground for the Kremlin. If a conflict breaks out, Russia doesn't need to invade Western Europe. They just need to close this 100-kilometer gap. If they do, 3 democratic nations are instantly cut off from the world. NATO is severed in half, and the global superpower alliance is forced into a brutal choice: trigger World War III to win it back, or watch the modern international order collapse in a matter of hours. How did a random stretch of countryside become the ultimate geopolitical glitch? And why is geography forcing Russia's hand? Let's find out. To understand the nightmare of the SUWALKI Gap, we first have to understand the bizarre anomaly that is Kaliningrad. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, this piece of territory remained in Russian hands. It gives Russia a warm water naval port right in the middle of Europe. Over the last 2 decades, Russia has transformed Kaliningrad into an impenetrable military fortress. It's packed with anti-ship missiles, anti-aircraft systems, and electronic warfare jamming equipment. It creates what military planners call an A2AD bubble, an area denial zone where NATO planes and ships cannot safely enter without taking catastrophic losses. But Kaliningrad has a fatal flaw. It is isolated. Russia cannot supply it by land without crossing NATO territory. For years, this was a diplomatic headache. Today, it is a strategic trigger point, because the shortest distance between Russia's closest ally, Belarus, and this naval fortress is the SUWALKI Gap. So what actually happens if Russia decides to close the gap? The terrifying answer is, not much has to. Modern warfare doesn't move at the speed of the last century. It moves in hours. Picture the clock, hour 0. The first missiles leave Kaliningrad, and Russian armor rolls west out of Belarus. Hour 1. The 2 forces, racing for the same 62 miles of farmland, are almost close enough to see each other. Hour 2. They link up, and the door slams shut. 2 hours. That's all it takes. And the moment that door closes, every NATO soldier stationed in Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, tens of thousands of troops, is on the wrong side of it. Cut off, surrounded, out of reach of the alliance that swore to protect them. Now, in theory, NATO reinforces. Tanks from Germany, troops from France, the full weight of the alliance, surging east to pry the gap back open. But here's where geography turns against the defenders. The SUWALKI Gap isn't a highway. It's a thin stretch of rural Polish and Lithuanian countryside, stitched together by narrow 2-lane roads. Roads never built to carry an army. Push a modern mechanized division down a 2-lane road, and you don't get a counterattack. You get a traffic jam. Miles of armor, bumper to bumper, crawling forward, while every vehicle sits inside the range of Kaliningrad's missiles. The reinforcements that are supposed to save the Baltics could become the easiest targets on the battlefield. And that is the glitch. 100 kilometers of quiet countryside that could decide whether the most powerful military alliance in history holds together or comes apart in an afternoon. For now, the gap stays open for one reason, and one reason only: deterrence. The belief that the cost of closing it would be too high for anyone to pay. But deterrence is not a wall. It's a bet that no one will ever be desperate enough or reckless enough to test it. Look at it again. Quiet, serene, and the most dangerous place on Earth. So here's the question worth sitting with. Is the threat of consequence really enough to keep this gap open forever? Or is it only a matter of time before someone decides to find out? Let me know what you think down in the comments.